Welcome back to our discussion series. We are discussing the Buddhist psychology of addiction and its recovery. So this is the part five, the B, because last time we discussed the same chapter of the book, A Mind Liberated from Alcohol and Drugs, Buddhist Psychology Manual of Prevention and Treatment. So we are having this series of discussions based on the book. That A Mind Liberated from Alcohol and Drugs. We are looking at substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, and its recovery through the Buddhist psychology lens. So in that, at the moment, we are discussing a very deep topic, that is Abhidharmic analysis of substance use and its recovery. So Abhidharma is the highest level of Dharma that we discussed last time. So I invite you to go through at least part 5A to have the general idea about Abhidharma and how Abhidharma presents the world view with its four realities: Chitta, Chetasika, Rupa, and Nibbana. So what is mind? We discussed the mind and the mind competence, mental concomitants, mental factors called Chetasika. So that discussion we started last episode. Probably that I strongly recommend you to go through the previous one. Then it will be very easy for you to follow this current presentation. Okay, we know according to Abhidharma or Buddhist psychology, there is this skillful acts as well as non-skillful acts. So skillful acts means wholesome deeds, wholesome activities which provides good results. Unwholesome activities, unskillful activities provides bad results. So likewise, we discussed last time that if someone is using alcohol or heroin or cannabis, it leads to ultimately very bad results. Maybe be financial outlay, the ill health, his reputation is tarnished, and many other consequences are there. So when someone is using alcohol or drugs, so that is an unskillful act, akusala, and what is operating the mindset is akusala or unskillful mindset. When someone is not using alcohol in a setting where the others are using alcohol and he has a determination not to use drugs, and if maybe that he is still in the use but he thinks about the recovery, then all that are wholesome, skillful activities or kusala activities, because it leads to very good results. So when someone using alcohol or drugs or whatever other substances like heroin, cannabis, methamphetamine, ice or shabu, whatever the other substances, so they do it with the unwholesome mindset. That is what last time we discussed about. Okay, so according to Abhidhamma, alcohol use consciousness is one of the 12 types of unwholesome consciousness. We discussed last time. There are 12 types of unwholesome consciousness. Unwholesome consciousness, akusala chitta, is divided into 3 categories. So, akusala chitta can be divided into 3 categories. What are they? There are 8 greed-rooted consciousness, greed-rooted, then 2 hatred-rooted consciousness, and 2 delusion-rooted consciousness. Now, this we say that rooted in attachment or lobha, or the greed-rooted consciousness, lobha, mula, chitta. Mula means root. Chitta means consciousness or mind. So, lobha-rooted or greed-rooted chittas, there are 8 this type of lobha, mula, chittas that we are going to discuss and analyze the substance use through these 12 type of chittas. Then dosa is hatred. So the hatred rooted consciousness, there are two such chittas rooted in aversion or dosa, hatred. Then mostly the moha is applying. Moha means the ignorance. So moha is applying in both lobha mula chittas and dosa mula chittas, that is greed rooted chittas and the hatred rooted chittas. The moha is there. Because of your ignorance, you are using substances. But sometimes there are certain mindsets appear without greed, without this aversion. Only moha is there. When there is only single root moha, we call such consciousness moha mula chitta, or rooted in ignorance. So first of all, what we have to identify is, so anyone use alcohol, he does it with this akusala chittas or unwholesome chittas or unskillful chittas, right? Chittas are arising and passing away at a very at a great speed, and this akusala chittas can be divided into 8 lobha mula chittas, that is greed rooted consciousness, and then the 2 aversion rooted consciousness or dosa mula chittas, hatred rooted chittas, and then the ignorance rooted chittas. There are 2. Through this, we are going to dissect and analyze someone's substance use. When someone is using substance, maybe heroin, maybe cannabis, maybe any other, even tobacco, alcohol. So what is his mindset? What kind of a mind he has at that time? Because we have to transform it to the skillful mindset. So unskillful mindset could be transformed to skillful mindset. So that is the therapy. That is the cognitive therapy. That is Buddhist psychological therapy for substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder. Right. Then greed rooted means there is one chetasika, leading mental factor, mental concomitant is the greed, the lobha, the attachment. And what is lobha? In our very first presentation, if you go to part 1, it gives a brief introduction to this lobha and the attractiveness, the attachment. People use alcohol not because it is available or drugs they are available, but because they have created this attachment to substance. So that attachment is the greed. So the attachment is the greed. So there is a continuum of the severity of this attachment, lobha. Now, there are so many words that we can use to express lobha, but with the severity, sometimes liking. I like alcohol. That means that the lobha is there. I am enjoying alcohol. So then there is this lobha. I wanting. That is also a wanting. Preference. After meal, I prefer having a beer than drinking water. So that there is a preference. So that is also part of greed. Self-indulgence, attachment, lust, yearning, seduction. Now the severity is increases. Covetousness, obsession. Some people are obsessed. When they come to the addicted stage, they are obsessed with the substance, but they used to get for this addiction problem, right? So we can see that greed. So it is not simply the availability, but because of the greed or the attachment that they had to substance, people get addicted to the substances. So very important thing is this greed, or in other words, craving. They have developed a craving. So sometimes ultimately when we are obsessed with the substance, we say craving, but in all this area, the tanha, the craving, liking is also a subtle form of craving, wanting. That's also a craving, but with the attachment, when you crave, you need that wanting, self-indulgence, preference. So likewise, so there is a severity. Now we can see that severity, the gross level, the lust, covetousness, obsession, craving. So those are the words to express this lobha. All that is nothing but the lobha chetasika according to the Abhidharma, according to Buddhist psychology. Now, let us see. Now, this is a lobha mula chitta. That there are about 8 such lobha mula chittas. Today, you are going to identify and even understand the differences between these 8 lobha mula chittas, that means greed rooted consciousness. Now, we discussed last time, consciousness arise not alone but with other mental concomitants. And these mental concomitants, there are universal mental factors that appears in each and every 89 type of chittas. So last time we discussed there are about 89 type of chittas. Out of that, we are only discussing around 20. So what are those 20 chittas that we have to discuss? Right. Now here, the consciousness arise with other universals and various other mental factors, right? Contact, feeling, perception, volition, one-pointedness, the life faculty, then the attention. So these are the mental factors. And then initial application, sustained application, decision, energy, zest, desire. So these are the other. So many chittas have all these mental factors or mental concomitants. But in this greed-rooted chitta, we discuss, there are about 14 unskillful mental factors. Out of that, you see that delusion-rooted and greed-rooted chetasikas are there. So the greed, wrong view, conceit is accompanied with the consciousness. On the other side, delusion. When delusion arises, shamelessness of wrongdoing, fearlessness of doing wrong, then the restlessness, then the sloth and torpor are also accompanied with this chitta. So these are the mental factors that associate with greed-rooted chittas. So we know chitta does not arise alone. It arises with other mental concomitants and with the support of the body also, the physical part of the body, that along with that chitta arises. Right. Now 8 lobha chittas that we can divide it in this way. Last time we discussed some chittas are somanasa sagata, that is associated with pleasure, or neutral, or sometimes unhappy, that is domanasa sagata. But in lobha chitta, there is no domanasa because there is the attachment. You can't attach when you are unhappy. So the domanasa is not there. So it is either somanasa sagata or upekka sagata, either neutral or happy, right? So if we get the chitta, consciousness, unprompted, accompanied by joy and associated with the raw, accompanied by joy, that somanasa sagata is explained as accompanied by joy. So either it is accompanied by joy, or if not, it may be accompanied by equanimity. Equanimity means that it is not pleasurable, it is not joy, but there is equanimity. So that is upekka sagata. So either it will be, so this attachment centered chittas, either somanasa sagata or upekka sagata. And Sometimes it may have the ditti or the wrong view or without wrong view. Sometimes these chittas arise with the wrong view. Sometimes it arises without the wrong view. When it arises with the wrong view, we call it dittigata sampayukta. And without wrong view, we call it is dittigata vipayukta. Then there is another difference, asankarika, sasankarika. Asankarika is unprompted and sasankarika is prompted by some other thing, by some other person or even self. Right. So there are certain divisions, somanasa, upekka sagata, because they are, when there is lobha, when there is attachment, there cannot be domanasa. Right. Now, we will come to this place once again, but I will very quickly go through. Last time we discussed about this, the nature of these chittas, and let us discuss about it. The feelings associated with alcohol or drug use related chitta. So what are the feelings? It can be somanasa, that pleasurable or joyful. Then domanasa, right? It can be domanasa, aversion, right? Then upekka, that is neutral. So it can be either pleasurable or neutral or aversive or delusion, right? Then domanasa sagata, right? Domanasa, right? So unhappy. So here you can say people are very happily using alcohol. That is somanasa sagata, or accompanied with joy. Now here, accompanied with equanimity, it is upekka, neutral, equanimity, accompanied with equanimity. And here it is patiga, or this hatred associate with the hatredness. So, but in lower mula chittas, that is not appearing. So it is only the pleasurable, somanasa, or upekka. Then we discuss about with the wrong view or without wrong view. So when someone uses alcohol with the wrong view, or it helps to forget problems, it helps to relax, it will give happiness. So all these are wrong view. The wrong view is called ditti. With wrong view, in Pali we call dittigata sampayukta. Sampayukta means with. Vipayukta means without. Sampayukta with. Vipayutta means without. So this can be dittigata sampayutta or dittigata vipayutta. Dittigata sampayutta means with wrong view. He has many wrong views regarding alcohol, but someone can use alcohol without any wrong view, but maybe that they have the conceit of mana in those chittas, right? But this person is not drinking because it gives pleasure or it helps to forget problems or whatever. But he just symbolically using it to show off and saying, to show that I am greater than the others. And so to show his masculinity, just to show off, people are using. So that is dittigata vipayutta. Dittiga sampayukta, or with wrong view or without wrong view. Then we discuss the prompted and unprompted. Now this person is forcing the lady to use some substances here. So the lady is prompted. So prompted means that chittas are generated through conscious effort, deliberation, or premeditation, or by being prompted or influenced by others. So that is called sasankarika chitta. Sasankarika. Sasankarika means prompted. Unprompted means sometimes that. So prompted is sasankaraka. Asankaraka means that there is no such motivation much, but asankaraka, it happens habitually, naturally, right? That is called asankarika chitta. Spontaneous use of substance, maybe relapse. He doesn't want to use, but all of a sudden, in a given environment, he has seen his old friends using substances, so he just go there and see them, and without his control also, right, automatically he tends to use substance. So that is called unprompted. So unprompted is asankarika chitta. So asankarika chitta, that we discussed last time also. The chittas could be either prompted or unprompted. Sasankarika chitta or asankarika chitta. So prompted means deliberation or inducement is there, but unprompted is spontaneous occurrence. It's a spontaneous occurrence, automatic occurrence. Automatically, he go to substance use without thinking much. So when someone initiates substance use, he plan and very well plan and doing that thing. But we know the habitual use of substance or relapse is automatically happening. So this has a strong action of karmic consequences. But what is the difference? The unprompted means it has a less intense of actions and karmic consequences. That is how Abhidharma explains these prompted chittas, that is sasankarika chitta, and the unprompted chittas, asankarika chitta. So let us come to the today's discussion. So lobhamula chittas either can be accompanied by joy or accompanied by equanimity. So those two can be there. Then it can be with the wrong view or without wrong view. With the wrong view, we say dittigata sampayukta, and without wrong view, we say dittigata vipayukta. And it can be unprompted or prompted chitta. Unprompted, prompted chitta. So likewise, we can divide these. Ultimately, we get from Somanasa side 4 chittas and Upekka side 4 chittas. Altogether, we come to 8. That is what we are going to discuss. Now, let us see the first chitta. Now, Somanasa sahagata, dittigata sampayutta, asankarika chitta. What is that? Somanasa sahagata, that is the conscious, unprompted, because it is asankarika, accompanied by joy, because it is dittigata sampayutta, and associated with wrong view. He has wrong view. So that is 1 out of 8 ways of using substances. Now think about a person. He is very joyfully using substance. Now here, he is very joyfully using substances and he has the wrong view. So that is somanasa sahagata, or accompanied with joy, and he has a ditti, he has a view, wrong view. What is that? He thinks that it helps to forget problems, although actually we know that when someone uses substances, his problems increase and new problems arises. So that is what is really happening. So it helps me to relax? No, he becomes more tense after using substances because the body works to get rid of that substances. So the metabolic rates goes up. So it tense the person and give happiness. Actually, that is not correct, because what someone feels is actually unpleasant, even at the optimum level. So the substance use is nothing but boring. But we wrongly perceive these things. That is called vipallasa. In our first presentation, we have discussed this in length, how the unpleasant substances, alcohol, heroin, tobacco, became pleasurable for people with this vipallasa of various ways. Actually, we discussed about 3 methods of this wrongly understanding, perceiving, thinking. So that is what we discussed in the first discussion. Okay, so now you can understand. And the accompanied by joy, and then with the view, and he is not very motivated to use even though in the same setting, he is not very motivated. So it is asankarika, unprompted. So this chitta is accompanied by joy, unprompted, and with wrong view. With wrong view. So in Pali, somanassa sahagata, dittigata sampayukta, asankarika ekam. Nattang asankarika chittam. Right. Now you see the first one here. Somanassa sahagatam, dittigata sampayuktam, asankarika chittam. Asankarika ekam. Right. Consciousness, unprompted, accompanied by joy and associated with the wrong view. Somanassa sahagata, dittigata sampayukta, asankarikam ekam. Ekam or chittam. You can put it in that way. So that is the first mindset or the chitta, the mental unit, the mental molecule, mind molecule that operates when substance use. And it can be either asankarika or sasankarika with the motivation. Now he is very eagerly using with planning to get substances and all that stuff. It is not just available there and you go and use it. So he meticulously planned to get the substance. Then in such instances, how it happens, the somanassa sahagata, dittigata sampayukta, sasankarika, prompted. So the second consciousness we can discuss, consciousness prompted, accompanied by joy and associated with wrong view. So how do you tell in Pali? Hope that you are now familiar with the words. Somanassa sahagatam, that means accompanied by joy. Somanassa is happiness, right? Somanassa. Dittigata sampayuktam. Dittigata sampayuktam means that he has a wrong view about substances, wrong positive outcome expectancies he has about substances, and then the sasankarika, prompted chitta. So this is stronger and this has more bad consequences than the asankarika chitta, okay, because it's stronger than the first chitta. So now we discuss about two chittas of lobha, that is somanassa sahagata, dittigata sampayukta, asankarika chitta or sasankarika chitta. Now we can come to the other one, somanassa sahagata, dittigata vipyukta, there is no wrong view, and it also can be divided into asankarika chitta or sasankarika chitta. Now here someone, the third one, somanassa sagata, dittigata vipayukta, there is no wrong view, but it is asankarika also. Asankarika means not unprompted. So that chitta, number 3, somanassa sagata, dittigatang vipayutta, asankarika chitta, consciousness, unprompted, accompanied by joy and associated with the wrong view. Somanassa sagata, dittigata sampayutta, asankarika chitta. What is he? Now here, he does not use alcohol, or she does not use heroin or whatever, cannabis or whatever, with the wrong view. Right? Now, he doesn't think that it will help to forget problems. He doesn't think it will help to, it gives pleasure, euphoria, or it will help to ease tiredness. But here, he knows sometimes it is very neutral thing. It doesn't give you anything, but just to show off, right? Now, I use this substance, so I am a strong man. So that is dittigata vipayukta. There is no ditti, but there is mana chetasika. The conceit is there. So instead of ditti is also a mental concomitant. Instead of ditti, in that chitta, you get mana. Because both ditti and mana cannot apply in the same chitta, according to Buddhist psychology. So when ditti is there, mana cannot be there. When mana is there, ditti cannot be there. So there is something that we have to think about, according to Buddhist psychology, how this ditti and mana operates. Okay. Now I will give you an example. Sometimes there are people who knows about the wrong beliefs of the substances, And sometimes they have conduct sessions also regarding the myths and realities about the substances, maybe alcohol or alcohol use is it is unpleasant, it doesn't give you anything, it increases your problems. Likewise, they conduct even sessions. But after some year or two, we see that they occasionally use either beer or any other alcohol. When investigated, we see that still they don't have the ditty wrong view, but just to show off, when I am with my boss, I can't be there without using substances. So to go with them, I have to use at least a beer, right? Kind of peer pressure. So there is no ditti, it is dittigata vipayutta. So for them, the treatment is that either we have to challenge their masculinity and that mana. So we have to think about it. So sometimes people surprise to see, oh, he knows everything about substances. He knows that it doesn't give you anything. But why does he use substances after some time? Knowing everything. Maybe that we haven't deal with him through this mana conceit. So through that conceit, there is this greed arises, and such a consciousness we call somanasa sagatan dittigata samtyuttam asankarikam mekam. And asankarika means that not prompted, not unprompted. He doesn't want to use it that much, but simply it is available there and my boss is there. So I have to show that I am also using, I am also one of them. I am also in your group. So even he knows the unpleasant consequences of the substance use, but he, just to show off, he is using that substances in such an event, what chitta arises in him, that is this consciousness, unprompted, accompanied by joy and associated with the wrong view. So that is somanasagata dittigata sampayutta asankarika ekam, asankarika chitta. Right. Now, same way, it can be sasankarika also. Somanasagata dittigata sampayutta sasankarika. Now he plans. Now suppose someone who knows about substances, there is no use in it. It won't help to forget problems, or it won't give pleasure, but the boss is coming home for a party. Now that he has to offer alcohol there. So he planned to bring alcohol home and offer that alcohol to the friends and the boss, and at the same time he is also using that alcohol, but that is actually that is dittigata vipayukta, no ditti, but sasankarika, because prompted, he planned to do so. Sasankarika. We will see what is the difference between the asankarika, sasankarika, and what mental factors are operating in that. So that will help us to, help him to come out of the substance use. So now we discuss this first four greed-rooted chetasikas, right? Then same way it can be upekka. The same way. Now we let us come to our original diagram. So the lobha mula chitta 8. It can be either accompanied with joy or accompanied with equanimity. What is that equanimity? He has no much interest on using substances, but simply because that it is available, and he does not even enjoy that. Maybe that he's in the middle of the realization, yet he is using substances. Then his substance use is not accompanied with joy, but it is neutral or equanimity or neutral level, right? It is neutral, not somanasa, even not domanasa, but in the middle, the upekka sahagata. So upekka gata chittas also can be divided into two. They can be dittigata sampayukta or dittigata vipayukta. With the view without view. Right. For some reasons, now he has, now say, upekka sahagata ditthigata sampayukta. He thinks still it helps to forget problems. It helps to, still that view is there, wrong view is there, but he is not very eager to use substance. He is not that enjoy it. But it is called upekka sahagata, but he use it. It can be the asankarika or sasankarika. Then we can say upekka sahagata ditthigata vipayutta, either asankarika or sasankarika. So here also either ditthigata or sometimes it can be ditthigata sampayukta. With the wrong view or without wrong view, he can use it. Then there is another 4. So 4 addition 4 is 8. So a person will use substance with attachment to the substance. So there is attachment to the substance. They love substance, they adore substance, right? So we discuss it here. They liking, with the wanting, with the self-indulgence, with attachment, with lust, with covetousness, with obsession, he may use substances. So then it is lobha moola, greed rooted, and it can be the somanasa or domanasa. Then now let us see once again the fifth one. So this is the fifth one. Fifth one, upekka sahagata ditthigata sampayukta asankarika chittang. So it is upekka now. Consciousness unprompted, it is asankarika, unprompted, and unprompted, accompanied by equanimity. So it is upekka sahagata and associated with wrong view. So ditthigata sampayukta. He has the wrong view. So in treatment, we know in such situations how we should provide them the treatment. So what kind of consciousness arises the most for him? Maybe all 8 are arising alternatively, but what kind of consciousness arises the most? Accordingly, that we have to plan the treatment process. So when we analyze the associated mental concomitants or the chetasika, that we can plan it later. We can plan it. So then the sixth one is upekka sahagata ditthigata sampayutta. So there is wrong view, the ditthi, and sasankarika chitta. It is prompted. He plans. Maybe same thing, not that he invites his boss, but it is upekka sahagatang. And he's upekka sahagatan ditthigata. It can be ditthi sampayukta or ditthigata vipayukta. Oh, asankarika chittang. Now we have to think about all these things laterly. What kind of positions that it has? I asked you to write down these chittas, 8 chittas, actually 12 chittas, and give examples for each and every. And I invite you to write it in the comments below, and let us see how you think about how these chittas apply in substance use mind, drug using mind, alcohol use mind, tobacco use mind. So we can think about it. Then we come to ditthigata vipayukta side. Then upekka sahagata, that is what we are now discussing. Upekka sahagatang ditthigata vipayuttang, there is no wrong view. Then we know mana will come and operate. The conceit will come and operate there. It can be the asankarika or sasankarika. So there are, the 7th one is upekka sahagatan ditthigata vipayuttang asankarika chittang, and the upekka sahagatan ditthigata vipayuttang sasankarika chittang. Prompted chittas. So the 7th and 8th consciousnesses are there. We can say the consciousness prompt, accompanied by equanimity and dissociate from the wrong view, and it is accompanied by equanimity, upekka sahagata. Right. So those are the 8 chittas. These people, when using substance with these 8 chittas, they have the lobha, but we have to see the intensity of that lobha. What is the intensity? Is it very heavy attachment? Is difficult to detach? Now so much attachment, the lust, the covetousness, obsessed with substance use. Then the lobha is very gross. very grave, and liking, wanting, preference. So we can see it is not that intense. So we can see how much, but all these are the craving, or this is how the Buddhist psychology discuss craving. In Western psychology, how we say is just passing remark, craving. Okay, there is urge and craving, but in Buddhist psychology we analyze what level of craving, and then the craving based chittas are eightfold or 8 types, and we discuss these 8 type of craving chittas for substances, and let us go through these things. And now you are familiar with the words. What are these 8? Consciousness, unprompted, accompanied by joy and associated with the wrong view. That is somanasa sahagatang, ditthigata sampayuttang, asankarikang eka. So that is one kind of chitta. Then consciousness prompted, this is unprompted, this is prompted. So sasankarika. Accompanied by joy and associated with the wrong view. Somanasa sahagatang, ditthigata sampayuttang, sasankarikang eka. Then the third one, consciousness unprompted. So this is unprompted, accompanied by joy and dissociated from the wrong view. He doesn't have the wrong view, dissociate from the wrong view. Then we know what operates there. The conceit, mana, chetasika, or mana, mental factor, mana is operating there. So mana is also, we can divide adhimana, the high level of mana, or lower, hina mana, right? Inferiority complex, hina mana. When someone is superior can have superiority complex because he is using substance because of the superiority complex, right, to show off. And someone uses substance because of his inferiority complex. He thinks, oh, I am very weak. I have to show my wife that I am very manly man. So only way that I can show my, only way that he knows to show his wife that he is manly is, drinking alcohol or something, or taking drugs. So that is one thing that we have to work out. You know that we were running treatment centers. Sometimes in the treatment centers that we treat them, we support them, and we help them to overcome all these ditti, wrong views about substance. We challenge positive outcome expectancies, and they know very well it is. But after going home, maybe after a month or two, that he comes back or reports back us that he once again started. Once we dig into what has happened, he doesn't have that wrong views developed yet. But once he goes home, he sees that his wife is the one who is controlling the whole thing, right? The wife is the one who earns, send their children school, and then look into the household matters. So because he was there in the center for 6 months, right? Now he feels a little bit inferior once he at home, because the leader of the house is now his wife. So his masculinity comes out. So masculinity is this mana. And one day when it comes to the intolerable stage, he goes to a place where they sell substance, and they use the substance and come back home simply because to show off and try to control his wife. That is because of the masculinity. So we included in our treatment programs to discuss about masculinity and deconstruct masculinity, both deconstruct masculinity and femininity, and to become more humanity, right? So how we do it, later we can discuss. This is not the right time to discuss it, but all this chitta. So I developed that program to discuss them about the masculinity and to deconstruct masculinity, because we analyze it through Buddhist psychology, and they don't have wrong view. They are ditthigata vipayukta, but they are working on this, maybe that person is working on upekka sagata, dittigata vipavutta, upekka sagata. I don't think that he thinks this is very happy, not accompanied joy, but maybe equanimity. But even then, that the mana part is there, because he still he thinks about the masculinity. So that defilement, it is a defilement. So we have to remove that defilement also, for him to have a better recovery from the substance use. Right. Now, fourth one, consciousness prompted, accompanied by joy, and dissociate with the wrong view. He has no wrong view. Dittigata vipayukta, sasankariko, asankarika. If he goes there planning, and today I will teach a lesson to my wife, with that intention, if he use substances, deliberately he is using substances, so that is sasankarika, prompted. Then consciousness unprompted, accompanied by equanimity and associated with the wrong wave. Equanimity. Upekka sahagatang dittigata sampayutang asankarikang ekam. Hope now you got familiar with the wording. When we were studying Abhidharma, very first time when we heard these things, it confused our mind, but that was so many years back. But once you keep on listening and reading these things, now this is like a piece of cake, very easily understood to us, because we were using it and try to understand it. Then the sixth one, consciousness prompted, accompanied by equanimity, associated with the wrong wave. That's upekka sahagatan dittigat sampyutang sasankarikang ekam. Then the consciousness unprompted, accompanied by equanimity. So upekka sahagata dittigata vipayutta asankarikang ekam. And upekka sahagata dittigata vipayutta sasankarikang. Prompted, consciousness prompted, accompanied by the equanimity, and dissociate with the wrong view. So these are the 8 loba mula chittas. Then there are other 2 mulas, or the roots, that is dosa mula, hatred rooted, and the moha mula, ignorant rooted. So let us study that also today. If you feel tired, you can stop this place, and then tomorrow, next day, you try to go through it, and today try to memorize these 8 chittas. This is really very helpful for you. If you are a substance use, if you are a counselor or working in the field of substance use, knowing this alternative method will actually help you to analyze someone's substance use and develop a good treatment plan for him based on the Buddhist psychology. That is why this Abhidharmic analysis is very important. Now we are doing very highest level of analysis using Buddhist psychology, Abhidharma, highest level of Dharma. Right. Let's go to this Loba Mula Chittas. 3 Loba groups, Chetasikas are there. The Loba, Ditti, Mana. So we have to understand, most of the time, these 3 are the prominent ones. Loba, Ditti, Mana. And Loba present in all 8 Loba Mula Chittas. We know that is Loba Mula Chitta. No? So in all the 8 Chittas, you will find the mental concomitant craving, loba, okay, attachment. So that is there. And ditti, the wrong view, that is also a mental factor, mental concomitant, that is only in 4 dittigata sampayukta loba mula chittas. So that is in dittigata sampayukta, with wrong view chittas. There are 4, no? Then mana is present, mostly present, in the dittigata vipayukta chittas. There are 4 dittigata vipayukta chittas, and in that, what is the operating factor? Of course, loba is there, moha is there. So we will go through what are the things. But definitely when we say dittigata vipayukta, without wrong view, you know, now mana is operating there. So we have to treat this mana, masculinity, manlyhood, and to show status. They feel inferior when they are not using and when his friends are pushing. So once you remove this mana and with panya, wisdom, So they will actually not go for the substance use. So that is relapse prevention. Right. So 8 Robamula Chittas, either Somanasa Sagata or Upekka Sagata. Now let us see the application of Chetasikas, mental factors. Now there are 52 such mental factors. Out of that, 14 are unwholesome, 25 are wholesome, and there are universe and pakinnakas, 6 plus 7. So now in Somanasa Sahagata Chitta, all 7 Sabbhachitta Sadharana Chittas are there, 7. We will see that. But Passa Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Jivitindriya, Manasikara, Ekaggata. Jivitindriya, Ekaggata, Manasikara. All together 7. Passa Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Jivitindriya, Manasikara, Ekaggata. So all together 7. Right. Then they have Pakinnakas. Don't worry about the words. Later on, you will learn it and you will become experts of these words. Don't worry about it. Only thing that you have to listen to this up until the end. At least this first one, the second, this is the A. Previous one, the A. This is B, C. So 3 presentations. With the 3 presentations that you can be an expert on this subject. Right. Now then, Pakinnaka, there are 6. Vitakka, Vichara, Adimokka, Virya, Preeti, Chanda. So Preeti means the joy. So they are all 6 are applying here. But in Upekka Sahagata, accompanied with equanimity, Chittas, anyway, that 7 is universal. All 7 should be there. And out of the 6, Preeti is not available in the Upekka Sahagata Chitta. So then that is why it is there is no Somanasa. So it is not Somanasa. When Preeti is there, it has to be Upekka Sagata. Somanasa Sagata, accompanied by joy. This is not accompanied by joy. Then so one Chetasika goes out of the 6. Vitakka, Vichara, Adimokka, Virya, Preeti, Chanda. Right. Now Preeti is going out. So then there is only 5 Pakinnakas applying here. Right. Then Moha group 4. There are 4 Chetasikas Moha group. All are applying in Dittigata Sampayukta and Dittigata Vipukta. Moha, Ahirika, Anottappa, Uddacha. Those are the 4. Moha, Ahirika, Anottappa, Uddacha. We will see the singular words. Then the Loba and Ditti is here. Loba and Ditti. And here is the Loba and Mana. Dittigata Vipayutta, Loba and Mana. But here, Loba and Ditti. So, Asankarika, Sasankarika. Sasankarika is prompted. Then there is, why you have to prompted that there is Tina and Midda. Tina and Midda is there. Asankarika and Sasankarika, Tina and Midda is there. So, all together, so we will discuss that later. What are these Chetasikas? So, based on that, we have to develop our treatment plan in this. Right? Let us once again look at the 8 Lobamula, greed-rooted consciousness. Now you know what are those 8. Somanasa Sagatang, that is with pleasure. Dittigat Sampyuttang, with wrong view. Asankarikang, unprompted. And Somanasa Sagata, with pleasure. Dittigata Sampayukta, with wrong view. Then the Sasankarika, that is prompted chitta. And Somanasa Sagata, with pleasure. Dittigata Vipayutta, without wrong view. So now come to the without wrong view. Asankarika or Sasankarika. Dittigata Vipayutta, Sasankarika. Then Upekka Sagata, that is with the neutral feeling or with equanimity. Sometimes people translate this with equanimity, but my preference is with neutral feeling. So that is better. With neutral feeling. Dittigata Sampayukta, with wrong view or Dittigata Sampayukta Asankarika or Dittigata Sampayukta Sasankarika. Then the other one is Upekka Sagata, Dittigata Vipayutta, without wrong view, unprompted. asankarika and sasankarika. So these are the 8 kind of lower mula chittas. So when out of 12, now we discuss 8 kind of chittas. What we have to do is now to go through the associated chetasikas and try to understand those chetasikas. Then I will bet you that once you understand this Buddhist psychological analysis, Abhidharmic analysis, you can develop your own treatment plan and with some new innovations. That is why it is very important. And on the other hand, there are people who are very eager to study Buddhism and they know psychology and so the Buddhist psychology and they know Abhidharma very well, more than me even. But now here I am introducing them the substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, addiction, and drug prevention for them to think about, because when those people engage in the treatment process, it is very easy because they are very well eligible and very cognizant on Buddhist psychology, and they can articulate very well, and they can tell, they can give meditation. Some of them are meditation masters, but maybe still they haven't started supporting the drug dependent persons. So our aim of this total presentation is, my personal view is, every temple, every meditation center, any Buddhist monk, people who are interested in Abhidharma, who are studying Abhidharma and Buddhist psychology, so you have the opportunity, you have the necessary skills for supporting someone with SUD, AUD, substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, or with someone still smokes, right? But only thing that you must know the technical part of it. So with your Abhidharma knowledge, with your Buddhist psychology knowledge, once you learn the technical part of prevention and treatment and recovery, so you will be an ideal person to support someone who suffers with substance use disorder or alcohol use disorder. So apply your Buddhist psychology knowledge, apply your Abhidharma knowledge, right, to help people to overcome their suffering, and that is very meritorious act. It is a very meritorious act, but only thing that you must know certain technicalities in AUD, SUD, substance use disorder, that technical support is provided through this program. So people who are already engaged in the substance use treatment, so you can have a new dimension, new understanding through Buddhist view, Buddhist psychology, Abhidharma. You can invent new ways of treatment methodologies, and people who are familiar with Buddhist psychology, Buddhism, meditation, here you get the opportunity of learning or understanding the technicalities of the substance use disorder, and all of them can, then there can be some new people who are listening this, so you can learn the both following this. And I invite you also to make certain interventions with the community to support someone who is still using substance and substance use, who is still using substances. Okay, now if you look at the Chetasikas, we are going to understand these Chetasikas one by one, but now all these chittas, now you are familiar with these chittas, Somanasa Sagata, Dittiga, Samputa, Asankarika chitta, all that you are familiar. So when the Somanasa Sagata, because it has Piti, all Anya Samana, Chaitasika, that is universals, and the Pakinnaka are there. All the Pakinnakas and are there, right? And you see, Upekka Sahagata, they don't have Piti. So out of 13, so one goes minus Piti, minus Piti, minus Piti. That is Priti means happiness. Okay, so they have the equanimity or upekka, neutral feeling. So they lost one chetasika in such things. And Moha group, there are 4 Chetasikas. Moha, Ahirika, Anuttappa, Uddacha. Right? Moha, Ahirika, Anuttappa, Uddacha. All 4. We are discussing all in detail. Right. So all 4 are there available in that. Then in this Asankarika Chittas, you can see Tina Midda is not available. So there is only 19 total Chetasika. But in Sasankarika Chittas, Tina Midda is available. So all the Sasankarika Chittas, Tina and Midda. So Slok and Topa. So that is why someone has to prompt. The motivation should be there, right? Tina Midda is available there. So they get altogether 21. So this Chitta has 21 Chetasikas. Right. Likewise, using this chart, okay, using this chart, you can take a snapshot if you want, or if you can cut paste this to some place, like, okay, so you can see the counts here. So these things are available in most of the Abhidharma manuals. Even in Bhikkhu Bodhi's book, Comprehensive Manual of Abhidharma, they have given this data there. Even you can calculate and make this kind of chart. So this is how the mental concomitants applying in the 8 lower mula chittas or greed-rooted chittas. Right. Now we come to hatred-rooted consciousness, dosa mula chitta. When someone uses alcohol, you can see here the dosa. It has dosa. That means maybe that he is angry with his family and now he is, as a protest, he is using alcohol. So there is no attraction to the object, that is alcohol, but in his mind what is running is actually the hatred. So patigha. And the same time, the withdrawal discomfort. When someone is having withdrawal discomfort, it is nothing but suffering. So then also what arises is the domanasa chitta or unpleasant feelings. So this is with anger. These 2 chittas. You also can creatively think about it after I give you the brief introduction of this. So here also you can see the subtle form of the thing and the gross form of aversion, anger, hatred. So all these words ultimately comes to dosa. That is what we in Pali says. So uneasiness, dislike, boredom, annoyance. So those all are actually the subtle form of, the mild form of dosa, chetasika. Right? Anger, hatred, resentment, fear also with dosa. So fear. So this is when we discuss dosa in detail, we are going to discuss repulsion, anger, detestation, hostility, ferocity, rage, hatred. So this is a gross form of it. Now, the withdrawal discomfort. Without having substances, he feels very uncomfortable, uneasiness. So in such an event, uneasiness, so he is having this dosamula chitta. There are 2 dosamula chittas. So through dosamula chittas that we can explain that. Okay. Now, for example, it's below. So here, this man, now he thinks about whether drinking or not, but he feels really uncomfortable because of the withdrawal discomfort. So when he has this withdrawal discomfort, so he has this uneasiness, boredom. So that is actually a subtle form of hatred, anger, aversion. That is called dosa. So that is what we have to learn. So normally in Western psychology, we don't analyze this in this way. So that is why through Buddhist psychology, through Abhidharmic analysis, that will broaden your horizon in applying psychological principles. So the fear is the opposite of anger. Fear is the opposite of anger. This is the same mental concomitant, same mental factor, the dosa. Now you become, now say some of your subordinate, one of your subordinates does something bad, and you become anger because he is bad with you, so you are angry with him. When your boss is not very good with him, bad with you, you don't have anger, but you have fear. So it is the others, the anger and fear is the two sides of the same coin. Those are okay. So the fear of death. If I don't use alcohol, I am scared I may die. If I don't use heroin, I may die. So that fear is there. Then they develop a fear for that fear. Fear for that arising fear. So those are the components of the withdrawal discomfort. So how to remove fear? How to remove dosa? There are many methodologies presented in Buddhist psychology, in meditation, in Abhidharma to overcome this aversion, anger, hatred, hostility, ferocity, hatredness, dosa. Okay, now here you are learning you are going to learn another word, patigha. Patigha means animosity, collision, or strike. So, collide, patigha. So, when you are angry, you have this collision, animosity, strike each other, right? So, this is called in Pali patigha. Patigha. It is like striking something or striking one's own mind with anger. Okay, that is called patigha. So here somanasa, we discuss somanasa, sahagata, upekka sahagata. Now here we are going to learn another thing. The greed often characterized by the constant desire for more and more dissatisfaction with what one has can lead to negative emotions like anger, aggression, and even depression. So that same greed, the same lobha, the same craving can later transform to depression or aggression or anger. This is because the unmet desires and constant striving associated with greed can create a sense of frustration and dissatisfaction, potentially leading to anger directed at oneself or the other. So this is how the craving turns to anger, patigha, dosa, ra. I cannot get this, so I am angry. Right. So those are interrelated. So ultimate one is tanha, the craving. The craving is the one actually leads to all these things. So if you think about the dosa mula chitta, the delusion, hatred rooted chittas, it has all these mental concomitants. We know the 7: contact, feeling, perception, volition, one-pointedness, life faculty, attention. What are these? Contact, passa, feeling, vedana, perception, sanya, volition, chetana, one-pointedness, ekaggata, life faculty, jivitindriya, attention, manasikar. All 7 are there. Because any consciousness arising any kusala or akusala, ahetuka, whatever, chitta, that they have this 7, universal 7. Then they have the pakinnaka, another 6, that is initial application, vitakka, sustained application, vichara, decision, adimokka, energy, virya, zest, piti, zest, and the desire for that, chanda. So desire and greed are two different things. There's a subtle difference between the desire and the craving, right? So all these are available. We know that things should be available there. Other than that, what is absence is the greed-rooted ones are absent, because you can't have the greed and the hatred at the same time. Right. Then hatred, envy, avarice, and worry. Right. Dosa, icha, machariya, kukucha. So those are the thing here. And sloth and topa, tina midda, is also there. So these are the mental faculties, mental factors, or mental concomitants associated with the dosamula chittas. And let us see it a little bit further. So all the dosamula chittas are domanassa sagata, unpleasant, not pleasurable, hate-rooted. Patiga sampayutta, it accompany patiga, that is dosa, chaitasika dosa, and it also can be either unprompted or prompted, asankariko, sasankarika. So then we know domanassa sagata patiga sampayutta. So this is universal for all the dosamula chitta. Domanassa sagata patiga sampayutta. It is domanassa, not neutral, not happy, pleasurable. It is unpleasant, unpleasurable. So domanassa and patiga sampyukta, accompanying dosa, patiga accompanied by patiga, and either unprompted or prompted. So there are two only dosa mula chittas. Domanassa sagata patiga sampyukta asankarika chitta. Domanassa sagata patiga sampyukta sasankarika chitta. So they are domanassa. So hatred-rooted conscious dosamula chittas are two types. Consciousness, unprompted, accompanied by displeasure. So that is accompanied by displeasure means domanassa sagatam, accompanied by displeasure and connected with aversion. Connected with patiga sampayukta. Connected with aversion. So they have the aversion as well as, so the accompanied by displeasure and connected with aversion is almost there in both, but the difference is conscious, whether it is unprompted or prompted. So second one is consciousness, prompted, accompanied by displeasure and connected with aversion. So domanasagata patika sampayutta sasankarikam ekam. So you know the difference between the prompted and imprompted nature of the chittas. So now when someone is using alcohol with hate, right? Sometimes he may hate with him also, with family. So using alcohol, so he is either using his mentality, we can dissect his mentality through these two chittas, domanasagata patika sampayukta asankarika chitta or domanasagata patika sampayukta sasankarika chitta, whether it is prompted or unprompted. So that factor is there, but other than that, both the chittas accompany hatred or accompany displeasure and connected with aversion. They have the aversion, right? So those are the two dosha mula chittas. Even when someone uses alcohol with happiness, pleasure, and then they go through this withdrawal discomfort, mostly psychologically made, at that time, what chittas arise? That is hatred rooted. So they started with lobha mula chitta and ended with hatred rooted chittas. Okay, so hatred is also can be seen. So patiga is also there. That is why this metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation, things like that is also very appropriate for the treatment of substance use disorder. But it is only one thing. Simply because doing metta bhavana or loving kindness won't help someone to overcome the substance use. But it also, now we know to handle which part that we need metta bhavana, right? Okay. Now let us see. Once the moment that they use substances, they have this unpleasantness. So what they have is unpleasantness. Likewise, they started with lobha mula chitta and end with dosamula chitta. And even when they use substances, how they feel. So this is a kind of Vedananupassana, contemplating on feeling on alcohol experience, Ajataka Bahijja. So I took it here also to discuss, but these are the things that we are discussing as tools in future. The nose, Ghana, how someone feels the substances in his nose, the smell, stinky, very strong aroma. When the smell is stinky and strong aroma, it is not supper, it's not sukha, it is dukkha domanassa. Okay? Then tongue, jivha, or kaya, jivha. The bitter, dry mouth, feel irritated and dry, burning sensation in throat when it goes, when they gulp, they feel the irritation in the throat. So that is not pleasurable. That is dukkha and domanassa. So they start with happiness. The moment substance goes inside, what they feel is unpleasant, and then that generates patiga sampayutta chittas, dosamula chittas. So after that, they are with the dosamula chittas. Head, after using substances, you know that the little pain in the head, headache, heavy-headedness, rotating feeling, drowsy. So that is not pleasurable at all. So these are, once again, dukkha and domanassa. So dukkha domanassa means suffering and unpleasurable. So what chittas arise? Dosamula chittas. The two dosamula chittas. So domanassa sagata patika sampayukta chittas. So domanassa sagata patika sampayukta asankarika or sasankarika. That means prompted or unprompted chittas. Then the body, declining energy and liveliness, impaired coordination, unbalance, warm flushing of the skin, sometimes with heroin use that they itchiness, and they become very slow. So that is also dukkha domanassa. And in stomach, that is kaya, nausea, vomiting. So that is also dukkha domanassa. So they start with somanassa, ending with domanassa. So first 8 lobha mula chittas and then these 2 dosa mula chittas are in operation. All are akusala chitta, produce bad results. Okay. Then we know the withdrawal discomfort also, that it can be prompted or it is not prompted or unprompted. It is prompted or unprompted, that is there. And then we know the doshamula, anger rooted consciousness, we can hatred rooted consciousness or anger rooted consciousness. There are 2: domanassa sahagata with displeasure, patika sampayukta with hatred or anger, asankarika, unprompted, domanassa sahagata, patika sampayukta, sasankarika chitta, with displeasure, with hatred, prompted chittas. So these are the domanassa sahagata chittas. And we know when, as the operant condition, when we discuss that we are in a normal situation, when someone develops a habit, when they don't engage in that habit, their psychological level comes down and they feel withdrawal discomfort. And once they use it, they become normal. Then for a while, they stay normal. And then the time comes for use substance. If they don't use substance, once again, their mentality goes down. They feel uncomfortable. And that part is pain and suffering. So maybe that in this going up level, they have this somanassa sagata chittas, the lobha mula chittas, and in this downfall and staying there, they generate patika sampayutta chittas. So you can apply this into this. So how to handle withdrawal discomfort? This is mind-made. Giving substance is not the cure. Sometimes for heroin, there are tramadol and various other things are given for them, for recovery. But that is only very temporary solutions. You are giving, once again, substances, right? So the chemical addiction will be increased by that. But we have to analyze these things. This is mind-made. So through through transforming the mind only, transforming the mindset only, that you come support them, you can create them. Now let's come to the final two unwholesome consciousness, that is delusion-rooted consciousness. There are about two delusion-rooted consciousness. Delusion, the moha, but we have to keep in mind that delusion, moha, is in all the unwholesome consciousness, right? In loba mula chittas, the delusion is there. So when we say loba mula chitta, there are two roots. One is this loba, greed root, and this moha root, or the moha mula, or the delusion root. So in the hatred rooted consciousness, once again, the moha is in operation there also. So the two roots are hatred root and the moha root. But the speciality in this moha mula chitta is the delusion rooted consciousness is that there is only the component of moha, and it is without greed and anger or dosa. It is without greed, lobha, and anger, dosa. So this delusion-rooted consciousness can be divided into two based on the Chetasika involved in that. In one such Chetasika is the skeptical doubt, the Vichikicha, and the other one is restlessness, Kukkucha. Both the mental factors, the mental concomitants, are unwholesome mental concomitants. But once we study this, you will find some area that you should address in the treatment process with substance use disorder and other people with alcohol use disorder. So let us see what are those further ingredients. Now, so this is the map of moha mula chitta, and you see that the consciousness is the chitta, the total one is the chitta. Chitta arises with its Chaitasika. Chaitasikas are the mental concomitants, and sometimes we say mental factors. So the universals are there: contact, feeling, perception, volition, one-pointedness, life faculty, and the attention. So these seven are there. Then the pakinnakas are there, right? Initial application, sustained application, decision, energy, zest, desire. So all these are there. And delusion rooted, there are certain mental factors, this associate delusion. You know that delusion, shamelessness for wrongdoing, fearlessness for wrongdoing, and then you have the restlessness. So these are the mental factors, or sometimes doubt. So these are the mental factors, and this is the greed rooted, this is the moha mula chitta, and you can see the absence of dosa and absence of lobha and lobha accompanying mental factors and dosa accompanying mental factors. And with that, we can come to see the two types of chitta, the moha mula chittas. They are all upekha sagata, that is accompanying by equanimity or with neutral feeling. Better we say neutral feeling. So it is not somanassa sagata, because moha mula chitta, to be somanassa sagata, there should be lobha or the greed or the attachment. But here, as the lobha is absent, it is upekka sahagata, and dosa is absent, it is not domanassa sahagata also, because then when it is not domanassa sahagata or somanassa sahagata, then it is neutral, the upekka sahagata. In some moha mula chittas, the chitta contains the vichikicha skeptical doubt, and in other chittas, it accompanied uddacha, restlessness. So therefore we can say that upekka sahagata, vichikiccha sampayutta chitta, upekka sahagata, uddacha sampayutta chitta. So somanasa or domanasa always, so this is not somanasa or domanasa, it is always upekka. The feeling is upekka here. Upekka, this chitta has feeling, and that feeling is nothing but upekka. So let us go to the chittas. Now, the number one chitta, the Mohamuli chitta, is consciousness accompanied by equanimity or neutral feeling and connected with skeptical doubt. Upekka sahagatang vichikiccha sampayuttang ekang. Or we can say upekka sahagatang vichikiccha sampayuttang chitta. So here, sometimes they don't have the faith or confidence, right? Confidence or self-efficacy in the treatment process, or that they can refrain, they don't have that efficacy that they can be refrained from alcohol or substance use. So they doubt everything. So that is called vichikiccha. Doubt. Let us look into what doubt is. Doubt, vichikiccha, the concept representing the state of uncertainty, indecision, and if you look at through the Buddhist perspective, the lack of trust in the teaching of Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. It is the inability to comprehend. Then you can't comprehend. Very gullible. They are the people who are very gullible for the promotions of alcohol, tobacco, and other drug industry and drug mafia. Okay? So they are very gullible. Let us see why the reason. Vichikiccha or skeptical doubt is a prominent unwholesome mental factor, akusala chesika in Buddhist Abhidharma. It refers to perplexity, inner conflict, or hesitation or confusion regarding what is true, what is right, or what one should do. It disrupts clarity, confidence, and wise decision making. When it comes to alcohol and drug use, vichikiccha plays a powerful and often destructive role in the mind. The user can have many doubts about the substances. And when such mindset arises, it is absence of lobha. There is no attachment in that. It is absence of anger, no dosa also. Let us take some examples. Sometimes the user may constantly waver, right? Is this really addiction? They have some doubts about the addiction. Or am I just enjoying myself? Or am I addict? So there is no decision in that. Okay. So there is no adhimokka or the decision in that. So sometimes they say, I can quit anytime. Can I? Can't I? So likewise, they have the doubt here. So many alcohol or drug users inwardly know that their behavior breaks the fifth precept, especially the Buddhist. Normally, the Buddhist lay disciples, they should have 5 sealers. The fifth precept is abstaining from intoxicants. They know inside there is Panchasila. So every day I follow this, but I recite this Panchasila, but they are not very sure about the fifth precept, abstaining from the intoxicant. They are uncertain whether it really matters using substances. Or they may think maybe it is not such a big deal, or everyone does it. Why should I worry about it? I must also use some alcohol. So they have this skeptical doubt. In such a situation, the mindset is this upekka sahagata vichikiccha sampayutta chitta. Upekka sahagata vichikiccha sampayutta chitta. And this moral ambiguity erodes their ethical foundation, sila, and numbs their conscience. And then when attempting to recovery, sometimes they have the vichikicha or the skeptical doubt. Will any method really work? Will this method really work? They are not very sure. So they doubt the process. They doubt the recovery process. In such a situation, we know what is operating, what what consciousness operate, that is this mohamula chitta, one of the mohamula chittas, that is upekka sahagata, vichikicha sampayutta chitta. Right. I will fail before, I have failed before. Maybe I am hopeless. So now they have this doubt. Is this program right for me? They are doubting. So with that doubt, if they follow the program, they cannot reach the expected destination. Okay. Mainly because of that doubt. Can the Buddhist psychological path actually help me with addiction? So they have this doubt. This undermines confidence, saddha, in the path to liberation and recovery. It can paralyze the user in inaction. They don't take much action, or make them jump from one method to another without commitment. So their commitment become less due to this vichikicha or the skeptical doubt. Right. Self-doubt. Sometimes they doubt themselves also. Maybe I am just weaker person. I am very weak. So they doubt themselves. Perhaps the most painful manifestation is that I am not like others who can recover. I am very weak. So they doubt their capabilities, their ability. So that will affect the self-efficacy. Who am I without alcohol or drugs? Oh, so they have many questions coming up, right? Doubting their process of recovery. This endows self-esteem. This erodes self-esteem and prevents healthy self-reflection and increased dependence and substance for identity, escape, or relief. This inner conflict blocks samadhi. So what will happen, that there should be samadhi in the recovery process, or the concentration in the recovery process, and the wisdom, the panya, in the recovery process. So this inner conflict created through vichikicha or the skeptical doubt blocks this concentration and wisdom. It is one of the 5 hindrances, nivarana, and keeps the mind agitated and unclear. Pancha Nivarana, we are discussing it in future. So remember that one such Pancha Nivarana, 5 hindrances, is this skeptical doubt or vichikicha. So you can now understand how vichikicha or the skeptical doubt operates in the minds of the drug user and in his process of recovery. Right. That is one kind of chitta. The second one is consciousness accompanied by the equanimity and connected with the restlessness. Right. That vichikicha, now it is there, when someone has the vichikicha, what happened? The wavering, puzzled, hesitated, uncertain, indecided. So he is in an agony. So with that vichikicha, someone cannot be in the treatment process. So first of all, we have to remove this skeptical doubt. And there are methodologies to remove that skeptical doubt through developing the mindfulness sati and developing the saddha, that is right confidence. So likewise, there are interventions that we are going to discuss later. But here now we are discussing what kind of mentality is there when someone is using alcohol or drugs or in their recovery. What kind of mental concomitants or the mental factors are in operation. Okay, let's come to this restlessness or the uddacha. So the second consciousness, second mohamula consciousness or the mohamula chitta is consciousness accompanied by equanimity. Once again, it is upekka and connected with the restlessness. Restlessness means this uddacha. Restlessness no calmness in the mind. Mentally, the restlessness can involve racing thoughts, difficulty in concentration, and pervasive sense of unease. So that is called restlessness or the udacha. The mind cannot be fully aware of the object due to intoxication sometimes. Now, your thinking process is influenced by the intoxication, so that creates this restlessness. So the agitation, the confusion, distraction. So the restless mind cannot concentrate. They cannot think about their substance use disorder. They cannot concentrate. They cannot bring wisdom, prajna, into the treatment process. So trembling about the object so that it cannot take the object clearly or firmly. So Udacha in the substance use mind is like a stormy sea. It's like a stormy sea, constantly moving, never calm, driven by craving, guilt, anxiety, and confusion. So it drives impulsive use and blocks concentration and insight and prevent emotional regulation and recovery and deepen the cycle of suffering and escape. The mind of the person using substance use is often in the restless search for pleasure, escape, relief. This is how the Udacha rises. Racing thoughts about when or how to use again. So they always in a confusion. Am I going to use substance or not? Inability to sit still with discomfort, pain, and boredom. He cannot think about, concentrate because of the discomfort created by this restlessness, the pain and boredom created by this restlessness. Then they have this obsessive planning. How will I get money? How will I get it from where can I get it? When can I use the next dose? So likewise, that he is always thinking about these things, so which creates ultimately the restlessness. And then it is not just physical restlessness, but mental compulsion driven by craving, lobha, and the delusion. So in summary, we can say that mohamula or delusion rooted consciousness, there are two. What are those? The upekka sahagata, Udacha Sampayutta Chitta, that is with neutral feeling, with restlessness, and the Upekka Sahagata, Vichikicha Sampayutta Chitta, with neutral feeling and with doubt, with restlessness and with doubt. So, when we work with substance use disorder, the individual with SUD or AUD, that we must be able to see this restlessness or the udacha and their skeptical doubt or vichikicha, and we must try to help them to remove this unnecessary, unwholesome mental factors, mental concomitants. Okay, so we have completed our 12 unwholesome consciousness, 8 greed-rooted consciousness, 2 hatred-rooted consciousness, and finally we discuss the delusion-rooted consciousness. There are 2 of such delusion-rooted consciousness. So anyone using substances or thinking about using substances and what hinders their recovery process is nothing but this 12 unwholesome consciousness. Once we dissect these 12 unwholesome consciousness with their mental concomitants, which are going to do in the next presentation, so we will be able to creatively involve in our treatment support, in our recovery support. Okay, today's lesson was not very easy, I know, but if you go through it again and again, and if you read the relevant material, so you will get familiar with these words and you will be able to have this abhidharmic analysis of substance use, and it will help you to have a very innovative approach in your prevention and treatment activities. Thank you very much for listening to today's presentation. Hope to see you in the next presentation. Thank you.